Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We're back with Coffee with Mom, which I'm happy about.
Yep, we got our coffee. I don't know if this is... No, it doesn't look like these are branded. Oh, well, yeah. So we stopped. Mom's apartment building had the Detour Coffee Bar, mobile coffee truck. So we decided in these strange days, right?
Yeah, it's good to help somebody else for a change besides Starbucks. And the coffee is good.
Oh, well, I guess, well, let me, since you sampled both.
Oh, excuse me. Well, we didn't want to have that mix-up like we had before.
Yeah, the Illuminati. Oh, that's good shit. I'm glad I gave him a $20 tip.
Isn't that good? Actually, it's better than Starbucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I asked him. I went up, was like, yo, guys, you got, because they said they had flavored shots for one of their coffees. So I was like, hey, guys, you got peppermint mocha? He's like, yeah, I still got peppermint left over from Christmas.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I was like, oh, man, that's you. He's like, I figure I just made your day. I was like, yep, you just did.
Yeah, you made my mother happy.
Yeah.
Make my mom happy, the world's happy.
Sure.
Is that some kind of a saying that
I
I
don't know.
just made up?
It can be now. So I'll put some little B-roll footage on the screen so you can see the what are they again?
It's called Detour Coffee.
Detour
Coffee bar.
Yeah.
That's a nice. The apartment, I guess, just decided to do that.
Yeah, I think your apartment seems to always have events.
Things. Yeah, they'll have things down here at the party room, or what you call this place over here with the pool.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I don't want to go down there, but anyway, yeah, it seems like they try to plan things, which is good.
Right.
And then, of course, they own this little hotel over here.
Right.
Same people that built those apartments.
Sure, yeah.
And there seems to be some cars there, so people are out on the road, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's, it's so hard to tell these days what it's really like, because what you see is just the narrative of what they want you to think it's, what the world's like everybody's just falling around dying.
Yeah. Well, it's like we said before, they always seem to want to tell you the worst and not the best.
Right, sure. This is the nice thing about the day.
Look at this.
I know.
Absolutely no traffic on 160. That is phenomenal.
So I figure what we do for today's Coffee with Mom, our little drive.
Good.
Let's drive up into the north.
Ooh.
Let's cross state lines.
Oh, well, that won't take long. Then we'll be back home again. All right.
I thought maybe we'd take a little drive up towards Charlotte.
All right.
So maybe since we're driving up to the big city, maybe that could be a start of the topic, and that is, so what's your favorite city?
My favorite city?
Yeah.
In the world or in the United States?
Let's start with the United States.
Well, sorry people, but I have to think about this because I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah. I know mine.
I'm thinking of places. It's kind of hard to say, but I'm going to put Breckenridge as one.
Oh, okay.
I really like Breckenridge. It's not really a city, but it's a neat place.
Mm-hmm.
Besides just being a ski area, it's just a gorgeous area. I think maybe San Francisco.
Oh, nice.
There's lots to do, lots to see, fun.
Right.
fun things to do. Don't have to do super expensive things there.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find the photo. There's a.
My least favorite is Boston.
Oh, okay.
It's hard. It's just so many people in such a compact area.
Right.
And they haven't kept up with their streets for traffic. So the traffic is just a nightmare. People double park to go into restaurants.
Oh, sure.
So it's a mess.
Yeah, speaking of San Francisco, I think it was somewhere in an album, because I've been seeing it since I've been looking at photos, it's a picture of me hanging off the cable car.
Yeah, they scared me to death. You just hung out there, hanging on to that little bar.
Yeah. That was that story we talked about when all of a sudden came up on, I think it was like a white van, and the cable car guy got out and just literally just ripped the mirror, because if the mirror sticks out too far for the cable cars, man, it's gone.
Yep.
But that was fun.
That was a fun trip.
It was. Yeah. That was on one of those other, summer trips. That was pretty young then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
was
probably 10, 11 years old, maybe. Not much older than that, I don't think. I can't think why we were out there. Was that on another trip, or were we meeting up with? I'm trying to think.
That was the trip that.
It wasn't the trip where we did all the parks.
No, that wasn't a national park.
That was Los Angeles, which is not one of my favorites.
I don't know if we went to see family.
No.
You know, or we stopped, because I remember stopping in to see.
We probably saw Beth.
Maybe.
I think she was, but she'd been out, she might have been out in California.
I think Zent was still out toward the east coast.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But anyway, I can't remember
That
why.
goes to that saying that Cindy and I have. We've forgotten more trips than some people maybe have been on.
That's exactly right.
I mean, that's it's shitty to say, but that's just for some people. But that's what it is. I mean,
So what's your favorite city?
Washington D.C.
There you go.
And it's not because of the politics and all that. It literally is just the city, the patriotism, right?
Places to go and do. And
all I mean, obviously it's also because of the patriotism, but it's just the history, and what it symbolizes, and there's plenty to walk around and then just obviously see, and the Smithsonian and all, just so you don't have to go in. You can actually just, to me, it's one of those cities where you can really see it by just being in it, not having to go do stuff in it, right?
You can see Washington Monument,
right? Exactly.
Jefferson Memorial, all that.
Sure. Okay, so now, what about the world?
The world.
Yeah. So now, is it still San Francisco?
No. Of course, I really like London, but I think it has.
I mean, mine is still D.C. in the world, but let's say non-U.S. favorite city. Let's say non-U.S.
Trying to think. Well, it has to be someplace in Ireland.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll be
Because
you have to explain it, because I've never been to Ireland.
I love Ireland. I was fortunate enough to go twice. Once with Johnette, where we spent 2 weeks.
And that's when you drove, right?
And we toured.
Yeah.
We went all the way up into the very top of Northern Ireland, to the giant footsteps, or whatever they're called. Oh, it was wonderful. But we did fly into Dublin, but we didn't stay there. We got off the plane, got the car, and left.
Yeah, sure.
We spent one night, the night before we took off to come home there, but that was and that was when Johnette's daughter Jana was still an airline attendant for American Airlines, so we flew free.
Oh wow, well, that's better.
So it was. We flew first class, free.
Nice.
Yes, it was. Well, we flew on passes.
Well, sure.
And
what's she doing now? What's Jan doing these days?
She's still a flight attendant, but she flies for private people. rich people.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, corporate or
Yeah.
private. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, she makes very good money that way. And her husband's a pilot, but he works for it's a company. It's not a airline. He did work. I think he worked for Delta for quite a few years, but then he had a heart attack.
Oh, wow.
He was quite young and he had a heart attack. So he had to be on leave for a long time.
Right.
And then he was able to be put back on flight status, but he had already kind of been searching out other
Something else
areas.
there. Yeah, nice.
So he works privately too.
Yeah, there's a YouTube guy, Corporate Pilot Life, I like to watch. It's on my subscription.
Okay, we're in North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Oh my
We
God.
have crossed the state line.
Keep your head down.
Stay home.
Stay home. Nope, too bad. We're out with coffee with Mom.
We're on a road trip.
Mm-hmm.
And here we're coming up on that welcome center, right? When I can remember my first trip out here to see you guys and stopping there and getting information
Yep.
and stuff.
Yeah, I remember one of the first trips I did out here to really look was actually with Skip, with Swackhammer.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a whole another story right there. So I'll just tease people. Go on to Google and Google Ranger Swackhammer, just like it sounds. Swack Hammer, but with one M. See what you find.
all right. Do it.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
He was at
Army Ranger. 20-year Army Ranger.
He's the one that got you. Is he the one that got you into the model?
No, that was Don Cleveland.
Oh, Don.
Yeah. No, Skip was the one that, when we went to see the shuttle launch, then we're driving back from the shuttle launch, and he was telling me about his night jumps and all that when he was an Army Ranger parachuting, and that's when I said, okay, Skip, when I turn 40, I'll jump out of an airplane. That's
that guy.
That's Skip.
Okay.
So yeah, my favorite non-U.S. city would be London.
Yeah,
It would be London. It's I mean, I've been there obviously many times, and I'd have to say it would have been Berlin, but the problem is I've just been to Berlin now too many times, and so it's no longer like really fun, right?
Yeah,
it's
well,
kind of saturated, you know.
I enjoyed that trip that you took me when you went to Berlin. The thing about the contrast, say, between Berlin and London are the people. The people and language has something to do with it, I suppose, but I don't know, it just seems like the people in London are just so much friendlier. You can be friendly and not speak the language.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a body language and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be the only.
Well, that's like when we moved out here from Houston. You know, that was one of the things that people were asking us. We're like, oh, how do you like it out here? Like, we love it out here because, and it's a generalization, but it's just friendlier out here in South Carolina compared to Houston. You know, in Texas in general, I'm going to even say, right? At least we're Houston, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're like, really? Like, yeah, it's like everybody just kind of like, more people just smile at you, and say hello, and cordial.
People weren't that friendly and nice in Corpus Christi.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go shopping in a store and
I don't know.
be offended.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, you know, but yeah, it just seems like, of course, that's why I came up with the saying when we said, like, oh, we moved from, Houston to come to the South, and they're like, but Houston, I'm like, no, Houston's northern Mexico. This is the South.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So, yeah, it is, so I understand what you're saying, yeah. And I've met some really friendly people in Berlin, and I've met some kind of assholes in London, but as a general statement, like, I don't go walk around late at night in Berlin, but hell, when I was a kid, I mean, I was walking around London at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I felt completely safe. That was back when I was, traveling with you and Dad and stuff, as a kid. So.
Well, when I was there with you and Cindy, and you guys went to, I think, a British comedy play. And I went to see Lion King.
Right.
And I walked from the theater back to the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, didn't feel...
Yeah. And of course, the world can be a much different place now.
Well, yeah, I don't know that I would do it now. But, anyway. Yeah, I like London, too.
And it's one of those cities, to me, it's kind of like DC. And Berlin, too. You can see it, right, without having to actually go in it, right? You can just be there and you can see, right, from the Abbey, right, to Big Ben, to the Thames, to all the, obviously, Buckingham and the parks.
The thing that London has that Washington, D.C. doesn't have is the history. So you can go from, medieval to modern.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
And that makes it kind of unique.
Right, and that might be why Berlin is kind of falling off my list, is because, and it's understandable, but them really almost washing Berlin clean of all the Nazi history.
Yeah, well,
that's what made Berlin so fascinating, was because of that history, and they're really almost trying to cleansing it of that history, and so that's like, well, I mean, I went, Matt and I, we went through Checkpoint Charlie from West Berlin into East Berlin. And now you go there and it's this little tiny guard shack in the middle of the street.
That's
and I'm like,
fake.
yeah, no, and I'm like, this is not what it looked like at all. This was a huge, border crossing, think El Paso border crossing.
Yeah. Well, that was like when I was on that tour bus. On and off tour bus there in Berlin. And I was stupid enough to ask the question. I said, this is really strange. I said, I expected to see more, history, more old buildings. And he said, well, no, they were all bombed out.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah,
well,
absolutely.
And once he said it, it made sense. And I thought, well, I should have figured that out.
Well, that's like, Munich, when we were in Munich.
But, can I interrupt for a minute? But, in contrast, Budapest did not do that. Budapest left the bullet holes and stuff in the sides of the buildings and stuff. So you saw, and you could feel that. You can't feel what happened to Berlin.
Right, correct.
Because it's too new.
Right. Well, it's like Munich too. The majority of Munich, you're like, oh my God, it's so neat, it's so Bavarian, it's so old. Now Munich was bombed up too.
Yes, it was.
It's just Munich decided we're going to rebuild to look like the original Bavarian.
Yeah.
Or Frankfurt, they decided, no, we're going to transform after the war into an industrial city, so it looks like Houston, right? Frankfurt. They decided not to go.
Well,
right?
And I was in Nuremberg with the school choir when they went on a trip, and that city, they walled off the old part so they could preserve it.
Right, sure.
And so they do have that old part that you can see and feel the history of.
Right.
But I think that I was very surprised about Berlin. I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed seeing what I saw. But I was also very surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was that first. So for all of you watching, to give you just some background, Berlin will always have a near and dear to my heart, because my brother and I, that was actually the first city we went to, because when I say it as when I graduated high school and Matt graduated college, they didn't really line up that way, but Matt and I, these two crazy people, mom and dad, gave us, let's see, what was it, airline tickets into Frankfurt, and then 6.5 weeks later we flew then where we were to fly out of London. We had, I think, one credit card, and then I think it was a bunch of traveler's checks. I don't know how much it was.
Yeah, I can't remember how much it was.
But it doesn't matter. And basically that's what it was. It was like, you're flying into Frankfurt, 6.5 weeks later, flying out of London, go figure it out, basically pack your bags, your backpacks, and go. So Matt and I, we decided when we landed in Frankfurt, like, well, where should we go? Like, well, we had what is it, Fodor's, the travel guide, Fodor's.
Oh, yeah.
So we had this big old travel guide for Europe, and we had Britrail passes and Eurail passes. So we decided, let's go to Berlin first. So that's a whole nother story about how we got to Berlin. But so Berlin was the first big city in Europe that we were on that trip, and there's a bunch of funny stories from that. Actually, I found a picture, Mom. I thought no picture survived of that trip with Matt, but I found one of him while on the way up to the Schilthorn.
Oh, really?
Yep, with his gargoyle glasses, because you remember Arnold Schwarzenegger and the Terminator were real big. That's when that movie came out, so he's wearing that. So I've got that photo, and I've also got a photo of Basel's, the hostel we stayed at in Interlaken, Switzerland. And you remember the story about him puking onto the roof and then washing it off?
Uh-huh.
That's the picture I took when we're sitting there, and I look up and you can actually see the watermarks from our window down onto the owner's balcony. So Berlin will always be, and now they've moved the McDonald's that we first ate at, which is a whole another funny story. But they've moved that McDonald's, so it's not as sentimental, right, anymore. But I mean, Berlin, that's the long story of why Berlin was such a surprise to us, because, we were thinking about getting off of Berlin and seeing this dump, right, and we got off, and West Berlin was like Las Vegas. And we got off the train, and it's like all these bright lights and a big city, and we're like, what the hell? Mm-hmm. And then you went in, when we crossed Checkpoint Charlie, went into East Berlin. Oh yeah, then it was a dump, right? All right, let's see here, where we're gonna go. Maybe we make the loop around Charlotte, huh?
Neat. Yeah, I've been this way for a while.
Yep.
I don't know what made me think about it the other day, but I was thinking when you brought me over, it was for my birthday, I think.
Okay.
We came to that steakhouse.
Oh, yeah, the real dark one. Low and dark, that one?
The one where they bring the food to your table and cut it off. The waiters bring them.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the Brazilian steakhouse.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. Sure, yeah. I was thinking of that other little steakhouse.
Well, I like that.
TJ's, remember the steak and something?
Yeah,
steak
where I had the big T-bone.
Yeah.
That was a nice place.
Yeah, it was.
I have a birthday picture of that.
So just loop around Charlotte here. Oh, wait, Charlotte is on. I would feel these little knocking from this little star of
Hey, I could have picked that up and used it as a squirrel reflector.
What's that?
Whatever that tube thing was back there.
Oh.
Probably was. Oh, there's downtown Charlotte.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, this little star thing is going to be the death of me.
They have some very unusual looking buildings down here. I'll have to say that for Charlotte.
Yeah, well, so much of it's a banking center.
Yeah,
Early.
so much of it is gone.
Yeah.
Moved out.
But it's a nice, lively downtown. It's not one of those dead downtowns.
Yeah, the young people like to live down near here.
Yeah, it's definitely got
all those old warehouse areas are being revamped. That's good. Still trying to work on their rail system, though.
Yeah, we don't really have a good rail. I mean, you have it from the southern suburb up into Charlotte, but that's more for a sporting stuff, the events. That's what that really is for.
Oh, not commuters.
No, not really commuters. Because they built it along South Boulevard, which is that our historic, I guess, kind of main north-south thoroughfare from Charlotte down to South Carolina. South Carolina. Over there is where our jeweler that we had had the rings made from your diamonds. haven't gotten a good habit because one is still, since I've lost so much weight, it's still
It's
so
still loose,
Yeah.
yeah.
I need to take it in and
Well, that was
get it resized or have them
It
add
was a
some.
good thing I did because I sure can't wear any rings now
Uh-huh.
with my fat little fingers.
Well, if you got anything that you really want, let me know. I can always have it.
No, I don't. You know, I really don't miss wearing jewelry. To tell you the
Oh, really?
truth, no, I didn't even put earrings on today. My mother would
Can't believe
roll
it.
over in her grave.
Can't believe I've taken you outside, Mom.
I know. Don't have put gloves or a hat on or earrings.
Oh, how times have changed, huh?
Yeah.
Because see, you were talking about you and Johnette flying to Ireland. Of course, that was back in the day when you actually, and maybe it still is the rule, but I mean, you guys had to dress up because you were representing American Airlines
That's
at the time, right?
We were not allowed to wear slacks.
Right. And then back in the day, I mean, air traffic was like a luxury. So I mean, most people, at some level, dressed up, right?
Yeah, you
For air
didn't
travel.
see too many sloppy dressers like you do now.
Right. Yeah.
Like you guys dress.
Yeah, like me.
No, I mean when you fly.
This is what I wear when I fly. I'm wearing basically my Easy sweats on here, my Maggie camo.
Yeah, and Jana would always remind us about it too,
Oh yeah.
because we were representing her.
Sure. Well, no, it makes.
And we were really lucky because most of the time we never really had to miss a flight. I think one time
you got bumped because
we got
of
bumped
yeah.
and had to wait for the next flight.
Yeah, because you guys are what they call it, zero fares or something like that. I don't know.
Well,
There was a term that the
yeah.
airline had for.
Well, Jana, it really wasn't I mean, Jana had to pay like taxes,
Right.
and so I would send her the taxes, repay her the taxes.
Sure. That makes sense.
I mean,
yeah.
one time was like $30 or
Oh,
something.
really, Mom? Really?
Yeah.
You had wow.
But I mean, I'm thinking it was like $20-some, but rounded it off. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, that was really a nice luxury and that's over with. Even Johnette doesn't have any more passes to use.
Yeah. Well, it's just tough for you guys now too.
Yeah. Well, of course, that doesn't matter because I wouldn't be able to get on an airplane anyway.
Yeah, it would have to be probably a pretty grand event Right. to get you on a plane.
Well, for many reasons. One is, I guess people don't need to hear this, but I was just, going on a trip is supposed to be fun,
Right.
not an ordeal. And going somewhere, for you to take me somewhere on a plane now, unless it was really a short trip,
Right.
would be an ordeal. And that doesn't sound like fun to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless the destination was really grandiose, that way you could almost have enough time to forget about the flight.
Yeah. But, and I've been a lot of places, so I'm fortunate to be able to have memories about a lot of good trips.
Uh huh.
That was one thing Kurt and I did. We did travel, and I had a lot of good trips with you and with Matt, which gives me good memories of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that trip. Sometime we'll tell you about the family trip to Big Ben at Thanksgiving.
Oh, true.
That's a story too.
Well, we need to
I was trying
write
to,
that down.
I was trying to think of some other family trips that we took that.
Well, we were a family, but we had other people with us. That was the canoe backpacking with the scouts.
Oh yeah, we did.
We were all there, but you had the scouts.
Then Kurt and I did. Yeah, we did that family-wise a couple of times, just the family.
Right.
But one time we went with the Roberts, Vicky and Kirby, and their two sons.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't think No, you guys.
You
guys
you
weren't-
got. Oh,
It was just Kurt and I.
It was the adults. Oh no, you said and their two sons.
But their two sons came along because they had never done anything like that.
Like that, yeah, yeah.
And
Did some pretty spectacular things.
we used to, Kurt and I used to race canoes.
Yeah, yeah. You
We
had
did
the
that.
trophies. I
Yeah,
remember seeing the trophies when I was a kid.
We did that for a while. Not. It was fun. It was hard, but it was fun.
That was a comment that was lost on the first fifth Coffee with Mom, which was the whole conversation about that we've done so much and seen so much, and that's why learning is perhaps easy for us, is because we can relate new stuff to old experiences. And
I think that's very true.
that's like you were saying. You basically said, I think your comment was something to the effect of, it was probably a good thing, but I was into all kinds of different things when I was right.
And I think it was a good thing. At the time, I thought, is he ever going to stick with anything? But now I realize that was a good experience because you learn to do a lot of different things.
Yeah. That's why when I ask them when they're like, oh, I'm going to go to college or what, I was like, oh, what are you going to study? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever thought that after all the stuff that I was just gung-ho about with airplanes and all that kind of stuff, and then space, and then thinking I was going to go and send vehicles to space, and now here I am teaching people to fix electrical power plants. I mean, it's like, what?
Well, you really did try to pursue that career. It just didn't work out. And Boeing kind of went, remember? That was when they were having a lot of trouble.
Yeah, that's the story. When I was graduating from college in '94, literally I was sitting there in the graduation with you guys and all that, and that's when Boeing and NASA, like the week before, announced, or soon before graduation, just Boeing and NASA were announcing 20,000 layoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't even try to go into the industry. I mean, I didn't even put out any resumes or anything to even the Cessna where I did my internship with.
That's right.
So, but yeah, yep, you never know. Like these days, you never know what's gonna happen. I don't remember that weird fence like that.
I know. I saw another one somewhere like that.
That's like art now.
Is there anything in between those
I
posts?
don't think so. I don't know what that was.
Maybe it's a force field.
It's one of those energy vortexes like in Sedona.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, well, I guess in this lull, this would be a good time to go ahead and end coffee with Mom.
I'm sorry, I was too busy looking around to be talking. Sorry.
Nope.
I'm on a road trip too, you see, so I have to look around
That's it.
and enjoy the scenery.
Well, so we are going to enjoy our road trip. Hope you enjoyed this 7th.
Wow.
It's actually the 8th, but I didn't have the mic on from the first 5th. So, so thank you for joining the 7th Coffee with Mom. If you haven't figured out yet, that's Mom.
Yeah.
So
happy trails.
Happy trails. Bye.
Bye.
We are heroes tonight. Yeah, we are heroes tonight.